Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How you doing, folks? We got extra players on the site today. We got CB up here on the top right, and we have our longtime player over here on the bottom. Is what the hell? What?
Gas.
Gas.
Yeah.
Because you changed your name. I'm thinking, is it Gas 4? Is it Gas 3?
Oh, I just have two accounts. Same person, just two devices.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're subscribed on both.
Yeah, I am. Double views for you.
Boom. That's it. How are you doing anyway, Chicky Poo?
Oh, hunky dory.
Good stuff.
Dory.
Welcome, CB and Gas.
A lithium battery. God,
you what?
The lithium batteries, they can stick them up a dog's butt. They save what, 2 pounds on a battery, right? But when it gets cold, they lose their juice instantly. It's like it just goes right out.
It's kind of like humans. It's when they get old, they lose their juice. You know, yeah.
It's like a guy 50. You know what I mean? We're done.
That's what you get now, Jake. Now for new tech, huh? The old school lead acid battery. You know, that to be said for sticking to the old school regulations.
All day, and you got it. Then you got the lithium battery. You got to get it's the opposite of a lead-based battery. You got to get a big charger, right? Don't get them ones that say they can do both, because they don't work. They just end up chewing up the battery.
Anyway, first world problems, huh, Jake?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I suppose testing. Well, we're doing this on a Sunday, so testing is actually happening as we speak and as people are actually hearing this. So I suppose we'll have a kind of a chat, I suppose, about each manufacturer. What do you think of what you've seen so far from them? What do you expect? And sure, we'll go from there. So I think we'll start off with Ducati.
Yep.
Been really interesting to see some of the stuff that they've come out with. I am intrigued about how they've blended the two versions of the aerodynamics that they were running last year. The side winglets, the downward ducts that Pecco and Martin were running on the final version of the GP23, which are very different to the initial version of the GP23. I don't know, did you actually check that out from earlier pictures? But the curve at the bottom of the intake of the downward duct, I would reckon, is about 2 inches bigger than the first one. And then if you remember at the start of the year on the Pramac bikes, they were running I call it the bloated belly pan, with the rail, and now they've combined that, which is, I get it on a technical thing. On a practical thing, fucking bike falls over. It's Joe.
Yeah.
How many points of downforce is that losing? Does that immediately make the bike unrideable? No, and I get it, right? The bike can fall over. You're probably 10, 15 seconds behind. Your race is probably over all right, but there's still that battle to get to the top 10, bag a few points, and I feel with that it's going to be down. But I'd definitely love to know each of your thoughts on what you think of the Ducati side aero. Let's go first.
I'll take a stab at it. As far as the crash damage goes, even when they were just running big wings out there and they were getting snapped off, they could still ride, and they said that they could feel a difference. But they lost a tenth or two, but it wasn't the end of the world. So they're going to get more exotic, and it is what it is. But I still don't, unless the fairing gets ripped off, it's not. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference than it is now. A tweaked handlebar or a snap shifter or foot peg's going to be bigger consequence. So
right.
but But as far as the work they're doing, it's amazing. You know, if you really look at what they're doing, they're playing a lot with the air pressure coming from different angles and just creating vortexes to create pressure pockets on top, and accelerating air into the right places. And you look at the shape and roll it over onto its side, and you can see what they're thinking there. Is it's not just a front attack angle only. The amount of development that Ducati has put in is staggering, and they're so far ahead of everyone else, except maybe Aprilia, but Aprilia has gone a completely different direction, and I don't think they've quite paid off 100% yet, but I think they're doing some really good stuff over there. But yeah, Ducati's just so far ahead that everyone else is essentially just copying them at this point, and they're just a year ahead. So what do you say?
Yeah. The victor goes spoils. I can't say give him hell for being good. That's what irritates the shit out of me. Somebody says, well, they're really good. They should do. I had somebody. They should take only do Ducati and take all their stuff off and put it until the other Japanese win. I said, what? They're not allowed to win now? Just because you're good, you're not allowed to win. Screw that. But they were going like Aprilia's going more. Like I said,
stay with Ducati there now, yeah. But we get CB's thoughts into it there too, Jake.
Yeah.
I don't have much. I was just gonna say that I think it's a little over the top. I think from what Marquez was saying that the bike's weak point is turning. So if that's gonna help them turn the bike, yeah. But if it's just to make the bike more, I guess, aerodynamic as far as a slipstream or anything else, I don't know. Maybe they just have that extra resource to engineer it a little bit more, and they're just trying to try different things. But I think they just need to focus on turning the bike. If that's going to help them do that, then it makes sense. But if it's anything outside of that, I don't know.
You gotta watch Marquez though, because Marquez has an axe to grind. I'm a Marquez fan, but he'd rather have absolutely nothing on there as to where it's just him. A rider and a wheel. Okay, he doesn't want.
Look,
on there.
Mark did come out.
So I want everything off. After I went it down to he has that in his head.
Yeah, well, look, Mark has already said. Come out publicly and said about that his kind of dislike for aero and stuff like that, which is aero is not
talking about him. You don't know what's been said.
How do you mean?
There's like 12 sites. There's one guy that literally
no. Mark did genuinely come out. I don't report bullshit, so we can we can agree on that. But no, he did definitely come out and say. Officially did come out and say that he's not really a fan of aero. He thinks it's gone a little bit too far. But look, and again, each rider to their own, right?
Back to what CB said with the aero on the Ducati, it's actually doing the opposite of what you would like to see. It's generating a lot of down force and grip, pushing the bike into the ground, which is going to give you good acceleration and good stability. But actually is going to punish you on the maneuverability, making the bike harder to turn. Right. So that's what the Ducati has gone. A lot of grip, a lot of acceleration, a lot of just raw speed. Where you look at some of the other brands, the Yamaha, the Aprilias, they got good chassis, they got good maneuverability, but they're missing that grip to launch them out of the corner. And
And what Mark has said about the weak point of the GP23, and remember this, guys, right, is exactly what Pecco said earlier on in 2023, that the bike is hard to turn, and then the bike is like a light switch. Do you know what I mean? You have grip, gone. Do you know what I mean? And that's probably what Mark is feeling on it. And remember, as I mentioned, they're on the mid-season GP23. They're not on the final version that was in Valencia. So they're not on, we would call it end of year spec or Valencia spec, right? They're not on that spec. They're on that previous spec, which I find very, very weird, if I'm very honest, that they have those 4 that far behind, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? You would think that they would have started this year on the end of season. Now, is that...
It's availability of parts, I think, Mac. They had a lot of parts for the 23, and then they came out with some new ones that they strapped on at the end for the big dogs, but they didn't manufacture enough of those, and they're just burning through what's there. And when the time comes to build new stuff, they'll go to the later spec. But I think they're burning inventory.
I would agree with you for day one. Yeah.
Once it's made, gas though, I would think that you can hammer it out just like any other part.
No, what Gas is saying is right. Look, they would have had a couple. Like, I would believe they would have spare 20. Let's just call it a spec, which is the first version of the 23s. They would have had spare versions of those, but they would not have too many spares of the B spec, which is the Valencia spec ones. Because remember, at the start, on day one, Pecco Bastianini did have the Valencia spec out, and so did Martin. Martin was the only one that kind of went into day 3 with that spec. So I would have thought when Pecco and them were happy to move off that they would have, how would I say, push the bikes down the garage. Do you know what I mean? To say, okay, here's your spec. Now, I do believe that Bezzecchi did try the aero with the bigger ducts. And I think that was because he was struggling more so than anything else. But it will be interesting to see at Qatar. Will they just stick with the 24s from now on rather than flip-flopping? And that's my concern for Jorge Martin. He got on it. He didn't like it. He was told to persist. He started to like it. If he comes out again on the 23, I will be worried. Do you know what I mean? I think
he won't be. The whole thing of swapping back to the 23 was just to get a feel for the bike and for him to say, this is what I want. This is the feeling I'm looking for in the 24. And then he's going on the 24. It was just him asking for something. And
I 100% agree with you, except the fact for day 3. Like day 3 of a 3-day test into the season, you should be on the 24. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You should you should have your back-to-backs done, and it's like a full day of how do I tweak this? Like every session that he went out on the 23, in my view, he was losing time for the 24 setup.
Right.
I guess he was. I get it. He was back-to-backing something, but that means to me they were behind on their program.
Yeah, for sure. He was not happy, and compared to the Beast or Bagnaia, they were both and
feeling that before though. He's done that before. We had to push him into the next prototype. You know what I mean? Going from one to the next. He's done that before. He said, let me stay with the old stuff. And he said, no, go.
Yeah, and listen, look, it's a right. There's two sort of riders out there in the world, right? There's the Cal Crutchlow type of I have to have everything that's the latest spec, brand new, and this, that, and the other. Yeah. And then there's the other type of rider, which is I'm in the zone, I can make the difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what? And I would kind of call that the Marquez spec. Give me what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable, what I can predict.
Yes.
And let me do my job, right? Do you know what I mean?
And make it work. Yep.
I gotta love that. Do you know what I mean? That sort of rider is fuck it, make use of what you have. But yeah,
like that too in a way. Pecco can seem like he likes to stay. Once he gets a feel of something, he likes to stay with the same thing.
Yeah. Now the 24 bike is much more related to the 22 than the 23, right? And Pecco said that that he can feel the front of the 24 bike like the 22 bike again. So it's dangerous, right?
Remember that Bastianini absolutely loved the 22 and had no favor for the 23, so he's going to be dangerous this year.
Bastianini never rode the 22.
I was gonna say, what was he on? Because he was with Grassini, so that's a year. Was it a year behind?
He was on a 21 with 22 fairings.
All right.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I actually always commend Ducati for, right? And I know Ducati were giving shit over the 8 bikes and this, that, and the other, right? Like in last year's fight for the championship, if they were really, really, really worried about Martin winning the championship over Pecco, or a satellite bike winning the championship over the factory bike, you can be guaranteed Martin would have been on the A-spec Ducati. They would not have given him the same nuts and bolts launch system.
You're right.
They wouldn't have. And when Bastianini was having his good year in 2022, they gave him an awful lot of, they gave him the new swing arm for the 22. They gave him all the 22 aero, but he was on a 21 bike.
They even gave him the same amount of engineers.
Well, I'll rephrase that. He was on a 21 engine, right? Because they could change the chassis and whatever, right? So, but they gave him as much tools to fight with Pecco as it could. And I have to commend that, because I'm just like, if they really wanted the factory team and the factory team only to win, they wouldn't. They just wouldn't. It's just.
Well, they've come out and said it. We're not going to keep anyone from beating anybody. You're a Ducati rider. Don't crash the other guy out, but you can beat him. And they give everyone equal chance and respect to that.
Yeah, I think so too. Aprilia. Let's talk about Aprilia. They just did their launch today. It's quite interesting. The color scheme of the launch today is, I actually think it's probably the nicest looking bike color scheme out there, if I'm honest. But yeah, I definitely think the Batmobile, they're very far ahead on what they're trying to do. It's really, really interesting how from the very bottom of the belly pan, they're trying to bring the air up behind the rider's leg, energize a rear diffuser to suck the back of the bike down. Now, even though they have a fucking big mechanical spring, which is the rear ride height device, pulling that bike down, in the middle of the corners, they're trying to energize to push that bike. It's Formula One level.
It's the angle of the push. The spring can only push in one direction, and then when you're banked over, that direction is no longer parallel to the ground. So you want the forces pushing from the side of the bike down. Right. So that's where that extra arrow coming over the back is really going to pay off. Yeah.
Now I think. Yeah, but I just think with what they're doing. They have the front wheel fairing at, let's just call it, at the bottom, feeding into that, but they still haven't fixed the overheating issue. It's bearable, but the riders are still, and it's such a fundamental fucking I'm just like, why would you overheat the only major thing on the bike that can be overheated? Do you know what I mean? Like metal can take a little bit of overheating. Do you know what I mean? Raise a person's body temperature by 5 degrees, they're fucked. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
I just assumed they hit it already when you said it. I'm like, don't they have that done already? I know they had the problem, but I thought, Christ, you step on that. You get it done right away.
Yeah, and it's a fundamental flaw. Now I get it. They're trying to clear up their air streams. They don't want a hot air exiting, but that air has to go somewhere. It can't go up into the rider. Do you know what I mean? Which it is still doing. Now, the El Capitan does look very good on it, which is a very, very worrying thing. Do you know what I mean? Because Aleix is a very, very good rider, but he is certainly no alien.
No.
And
he's getting up there. He's been up there.
Yeah, but he's the only one that's getting on with the bike, or with the new bike. And that's the worrying thing, is that for me, they're not going to break that glass ceiling. And like, getting an odd race win here and there is great. Don't get me wrong, but they need someone that's there every week.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to get into the riders. I didn't know if we were going to take that route, but I think that's their weakness, outside of the mechanical aspects. Is Aleix is, I think he's all over the place. It's like he's good one race, and then he's having issues with other people, and even in the crew. And then I think Maverick was saying that he was struggling as well. So it's like, who's gonna really take control of this thing and push it forward? I would love to see them battling with Ducati, at the top, every race almost, but it's like that's not happening. So I don't know.
Yeah, they do. Mac and I have been saying they've needed a alien for what, 2-3 years now.
Yep.
I just think they're. Well, I guess.
I was going to say, I think they're both really good riders, but they're both a little emotionally unstable, if you will. So on their right day, they're almost unbeatable, but they have so many off days because they're so easy to upset that they're just not consistent. Are they fast? On the right day, they're some of the fastest riders out there. Don't dismiss them. I mean, you see them when they have a good day, they have a great day. They're just so inconsistent, and I think that's a mental weakness more than anything, honestly.
Yeah, you don't win the day. Yeah,
but I agree with you. Look, I think it's a lot of where or why Aprilia aren't where they need to be is due to riders. The other thing is the bike, right? And with so much aero going on within that bike I would say is incredibly sensitive. Do you know what I mean?
Think most sensitive is set up on the grid, and the temperature, the tarmac, the humidity, that bike,
everything, air pressure, everything.
What if you get a crosswind or something?
Yeah. But like even if the density of the air is different, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if it changes, or all of a sudden it cools down by 5 degrees, massive impact window compared to others. Now, look, it will affect everyone, right? But and for me, then when I look at it, it's like, because the Aprilia is so good at turning, it can tend to run lines like Yamaha. And it needs to run lines like Yamaha, right? And it doesn't have that grunt to get out of a corner that the other V4s have. So therefore, they have to take that line. And when they get into battling with someone, it's very, very hard for them to pass. They can get up there. They can get half a wheel behind someone.
Yeah.
But then it's all on the brakes, right? And we know now with aero, people go so much later into the corners, that they're not making the dent that they could possibly do on a bike without aero. So let's say where it's just a Marky Marquez doing a fucking Hail Mary up the inside, do you know what I mean? Where that can't be done now anymore. And there's certain risks as well that come with that. You with the aero, you don't want to fucking damage your aero because that could potentially end your race. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very frustrating team.
Aero does not allow you to make the underpowered bike in a draft pass. You used to have a slower bike and make that big draft pass. And
they're trying. No, yeah, it's still the bikes still do create a wake, and there's still a pocket of air that you can slip.
But I'm saying it's not like it used to be. You used to have more of a pocket of air where you go.
No, you do. You see, because they haven't. No team has yet solved the dirty air off the back of the rider. The minute they solve that, the minute that is solved, it will make it incredibly hard to pass. But they still haven't, and you can see Aprilia are still working on it. Now, Aprilia, in my view, are the closest to it, and they're the ones that they're definitely looking to work that air off the back of the riders. Like, I can see I can see Aprilia now starting to work with helmet manufacturers of their riders to create wings off the back of their helmets. Now, look, wings on the back of helmets is nothing new. I have 2 different types of wings that I can put onto my AGV depending on what sort of flow that I want to create when I'm racing. That's nothing new, but I can see where that's going to be coming into effect to start to get that, because as soon as they connect that rear, because if you can imagine, the air that comes off the back of over the rider creates a drag vortex.
Right.
If they can smoothen that off, they're fucking money. Like, that's an extra 5-10 kilometers an hour, 100% down the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
And
so
it's not just the helmets; it's going to be the leathers too. You know, right now
exactly.
it's just the hump. But how long before
the hump is normally protected by that fin?
Yeah.
So
it kind of comes off.
So it comes off that fin and it goes over the hump, so it connects down into. But once they connect that is going to be the game changer within it, because that's going to take away the biggest drag point on any bike.
Yeah, wings on the rider's back of their leathers. Just wait.
It has been done. It has been done. It has been done. But like, I think overall, we're all kind of in agreement with Aprilia. Is they're nearly there. They just need that alien, you know, but they still do, in my view, need work to do on that engine. That engine needs to be able to have the grunt out of the corners, because they're riding nearly Yamaha lines. They're not true V4 lines. They're not in Viet and out. It's kind of a longer curve.
And by the way, with the Aprilia, it seems to be almost, it's not as much as the horsepower area as the power band area. They don't seem to have the same power band.
It's more horsepower, really. It is more horsepower. It's just.
It is.
I think some of it's the grunt out of the corners too. You know, being able to get the power to the ground sooner. Just, you know, better acceleration gives you a higher trap speed.
The trap speeds are there, but like I said, but you're right. The grunts just ain't there.
Yeah, but I will never ever trust a trap speed. Do you know what I mean?
Not during the testing, that's for sure, shit. But
doesn't make a corner.
If they move the traps back 100 meters, it changes things a lot. It's all about where they put that.
Yeah. And look, as I mentioned about Yamaha, right? Yamaha were up there last year in Sepang too, right? But the thing in testing is we don't know, did they make that corner? You know, you can go. I'll keep the pipe on. Yeah. I'm going to set a record. You know what I mean? It's good for the media. Now, let's talk about top speed on your fastest lap. Now we're into it, right? And obviously that data doesn't come out, but now we would have it. But look, as I suppose, as we're segued somewhat into Yamaha, let's talk about the blue machines. I don't know. Personally, I think Bartoloni has been a godsend, and you know, the initial reports that have come out about Yamaha is that he's touched places that haven't been touched in years, which is kind of a really weird comment to be making, but you know, slightly creepy. But I think, you know, what I saw from them from the Sepang test, when I saw the first initial days, the riders coming out, and I get it, but I was like, I saw the old version, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like the tail is the same, the swing arm is similar, and I was like, okay, maybe they're working on the engine, maybe they're And then Crutchlow came out with the newer version. Okay, the rear wing, same rear wing as Valencia, same downward ducts, front wing, Aprilia style from 2 years ago, you know, and I was immediately unimpressed with, okay, you've been working since November, it is now February, and this is what you've produced, you know.
I remember you were steamed. You were steamed when you saw that? You were like, God
Yeah,
damn.
But for me, it's like 2021. Do you know what I mean? We're now beginning of 2024. You know, the downward ducts. Do they understand what's going on? Yes, Bartoloni understands it, right? He was vehicle dynamics in Ducati, right? Very, very close to Gigi. Knows how the Ducati works. Let's just call it intimately. Do you know what I mean? Yes, he's only there a couple of months. I think it was December 1st he could start. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it was 31st. But again, you know, I expect a lot out of Yamaha this year in the way of catching up. The top speed looked okay. Do you know what I mean? On average, right? Not because if you do look at the timing, and if you're watching specific laps, it will give you the top speed on a lap that they've done, but then that disappears. So you have to be quite quick to catch it. And the speeds looked okay. Do you know what I mean? They didn't look massively thing, but I'm very worried that the bike itself, it's probably maybe 21, late 21, early 22. Do you know what I mean? In the aero. Now, they are using an external team to do their aero. It's been done in Europe, which is a godsend as well.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like bolt it on. If it falls off, we'll just make it. We'll 3D print another one and go again. You know, I think their rider pairing, they couldn't have a stronger rider pairing for the season.
Yes.
I am really, really interested to see the internal battle with Rins and with Fabio. I think Rins is going to give Fabio an incredible run for his money. I was super impressed at the test. I think 3/10 off, just getting used to riding a bike in the first proper few days of testing is outstanding in my view. It means to me, and if I was Fabio Quartararo, I'd be very fucking worried because it means to me that Rins has already clicked with that bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he'll find those 0.3 of a second. No problem to him.
Yeah. I thought he'd be at least 6/10, 7/10 off right from the jump street, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
You know,
we know Fabio's fast. You know, there's no doubt in Fabio's riding technique. So we know Fabio's fast, and the fact that he was that close to him that soon.
Yeah. And Fabio's fast, and he knows the bike inside and out.
Yeah, so it's definitely get your box of popcorn, because I think Fabio could be spitting dummies and stuff quite a lot this year, especially when he feels the pressure of Rins. And we all saw how he reacted when Morbs beat him that year. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't the fucking happy bunny, that he wasn't the golden child. You know,
yeah, and by the way, it's coming up that he's looking again for other teams.
Yeah, but he's openly said that Yamaha know that I am talking to other teams. That's standard. Like especially with the fact that it is end of season. You know, everyone is out of majority of major players are out of contract at the end of the season. Of course, he's fucking talking to everyone. Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's scaring me. I think he's checked out.
Yeah. So I mean, he practically has on the back of his leathers. It says, you know, he has the
for hire.
We'll work. Yeah, we'll work.
Mm-hmm. We'll work for food.
Yep. Work for ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's the only factory he actually wants to talk to.
Yeah.
I thought he wanted to talk. I thought he was talking to Aprilia.
He is. He is talking to.
That's not what he wants.
He is talking to every team, including Yamaha. Like, let's be fair. Like, I would think like Yamaha have committed to a new engine upgrade at mid-year. So that means the engine they decide on, which they have decided on their engine spec, they have decided on their aero spec after they would have had 5 days of testing, maybe 6. So they have decided on this. So I think like when they go to Qatar, I think they're going to be working an awful lot on race setup and such, because they're already locked in. they're going to be running the rear wing, the downward ducts. They're not going to be running the upper side fairings, is my understanding, and they're going to be running the Aprilia type front wing. Now they do have another. They can change their aero upgrades. They have 2 aero upgrades throughout the year, and they have unlimited engine updates in the way of.
So what?
They could start in the first race, seal 2 engines, go maybe another 2 races, and they could bring a brand new spec engine, seal those.
Yeah,
if
but
they
as
want.
much as we all of us here have a sentimental liking to the inline 4, we all know it's kind of run its course 2 years ago, for development. So what do you do? I mean, that's kind of I feel for Yamaha having I feel for them having an uphill battle, but they should have started 2 years ago at least, of going to a V4 when we said they should have went to a V4 years ago.
Yeah. Look, it's not the right time to make that drastic change when the regulations are the same. You don't,
it's
right?
hard. It's hard to.
Yeah. So when you change the regulations, that's the time. If you're going to make that level of change, that's the time to really make it. For me, I think it's going to be more interesting to see the rider battle in Yamaha this year than the actual development of Yamaha. I think they're going to be a little bit slow and conservative, which has been my absolute fear. Like, they need not to be blowing up engines, but like they need to be bringing different aero specs to every race. They need to be bringing at least one update to every Grand Prix in the season, and I'm not convinced Yamaha are going to do that. Do you know what I mean? I think there's going to be a couple of races, then an update, a couple of races, and then an update.
I think they should just go balls to the wall, throw the dice. You know what I mean?
Look at it
right to the edge, right? Until that engine is screaming at him, please leave me alone.
Yeah, but listen, look, Jake, we all know that the first 6 months of 2024 have already been planned in 2023. Do you know what I mean? There's operational planning happened 6 months ago for what's going to happen in this 6 months. So it is a pity. KTM, this is a team that I'm really excited to see. A little bit underwhelmed with what they brought aero-wise to the Sepang test. Jack Miller, I do believe, did an awful lot of work, but my understanding is that they haven't signed off the engine spec or the aero that they're going to use for the start of the season, which is interesting, but also tells me they're way behind on where they want to go. Now, I 100% get that if you know everything of what you want to do before the final day of testing is done, then you're probably already behind. It's not that you've got things right and that you're perfect. So that's another thing that worries me about Yamaha. But I suppose where I am expecting is to see some aero updates from them. And I do expect to see Jack and Brad specifically doing a lot of engine work on day 1. Day 2, then focusing on the aero and deciding the aero package. What do you think of KTM?
Got a guess.
Oh, KTM, they look good. I like the front wheel guards. They brought 3 different variants, and I know you loved it. I think they'll probably go for the one with the wide oval scoop that isn't, that looks very similar to the older one, but still has some aerodynamic function there. And the KTMs look good. Lots of wings. I mean, they've been drinking the Red Bull. They're ready. I like the work that they do. I think KTM's got a lot of potential. I think they do a lot of prototyping. They have a lot of ideas. I think that they more than any other factory try more things and throw more ideas at it and move more quickly than everyone else. So, for some of the other factories not having their final spec in place, by this test is a big deal. But for KTM, I think that's almost normal operations. They want to make sure they have all the information available before making the final decision. They still want to try a few more things. I wouldn't say they're back on their back foot. Bender tipped his hand that they got some things to bring that they haven't showed yet. And that's another big part of it is he said that they didn't bring the whole package, just the paint. So
they always bring stuff late. It seems to me they always be like they're the last of this show bringing stuff in.
Yeah, they have a Formula One type mentality of just in time. You know, and I think it's really credit to them in my view. Sometimes to their detriment because they were like, especially during the 22 season, they were trying to change 3 or 4 things every weekend rather than bringing just 1, possibly 2 things to try.
Yeah.
They were flooding it, and then they were getting confused. And I think Guidotti has been fundamental in that team, Joe, to smoothen that out. Especially last year, you know, they were really concise.
Last year at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They didn't have any testing time. So if you bring something in there late and you want to retweak it, when are you retweaking it? You're retweaking it during a race.
But I think any like the Japanese teams struggle with race testing. Do you know what I mean? Where the European teams are very much so stronger, and they accept that, you know, we could bring this wing, it could fucking break, and we're stuck back to the old one. But we're going to bring it anyway, right? And we're going to see, and we're going to find out whether it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if it breaks or fails, or if the data is shit, we might have wasted an hour, but now we know.
Right.
Whereas kind of in the Japanese, it would have been a much slower process of, let's put it in a wind tunnel. Let's make sure that the wing won't break. And the European mentality as well. We think we've engineered it correctly. Yeah. If it falls off or breaks, then we look at why it broke. Did you know what I mean? We have the sensors on the bike, but yeah. Stevie, what you think of KTM?
They're just not. Well, we've said it 1,000 times. They're just not good at innovation when they're doing something.
Well, it's not. No, that innovation is completely separate to race test mentality, right? Innovation is.
I know, but I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? And that's the problem, because I do believe, and I've seen, and we'll talk about Honda in a minute, but they do have some very weird innovations on their bike, but they're rapidly bringing these out now. And so, and this is why I said a couple of weeks ago on a project why I believe Honda might finish ahead of Yamaha is because they'll throw the fucking book at it. They will, in my view, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But anyway, so do you much think of a KTM?
I think they're a wild card team. And you know, as you mentioned with the development, I mean, you have in a wind tunnel, which is not actual, you know, real world data, and then you have, you know, the track, which is that's as real as it's gonna get, you know, when you're actually moving around that track and gathering that data. And I think that's better, just to, hey, go on the track, run it, let's see what the numbers are, or whatever, let's tweak it here, tweak it there, rather than spending time and money in a room that's, you know, not a real environment, air pressure that you mentioned, wind, all that stuff. So I think it's just a wild card, and I feel like they're not. I think Bender and Jack, they're just not, you know, gelled to the bike, and I think that's holding them back. The same thing as Aprilia. It's like they're not gelling, you know, because they're inconsistent. So that kind of like raises something in my mind that they're just not. It's like that extra step.
I get you, and I don't think you're far off the mark with the riders. I think, but the big thing that what we're forgetting here is a thing called CFD, right, or computer fluid dynamics, right? And that can, so they have, let's just take the lap of Austria, right? So they have a lap of suspension data, engine data, chassis, let's just call it chassis data, engine data, aero data, right? So they can plot that into a computer, right? And they can control with the CFD the angle that the bike is at they could control the external things then, like wind pressure, air pressure, and they can get a fairly good understanding. And this is again is about their testing and development. Now, Aprilia are very good at this, and so are Ducati, right? But they can turn around and they can kind of predict in a certain condition, this is how this aero should function, right? They then go to the wind tunnel, which they are developing now towards bikes. So they might have a full-scale bike, but they can lean that bike over to 63 degrees on a rolling road, okay? And then recreate that. And they could correlate from the CFD, which they would design it on first, and then into the wind tunnel, and then out onto track. But where they're really looking for the correlation is between the CFD and the track. And if they can correlate that correctly, that is the money thing, right? Because if the engineers are going to come to you and say, well, and it's kind of ironic on the side of is it the Aprilia? The Aprilia, yeah, you can see sticking out is like a little ridge up the kind of like just above the rider's foot. There's two ridges, and they're trying to seal off the overspill of air. And if they can do that, they're creating more suction or downforce by doing it. KTM have probably one of the best aerodynamic companies helping them to do that with Red Bull, right? They are definitely thought leaders in aero. You can see it by their Formula One cars. So for me, when I look at it, I still think that Binder is an alien, but I think he needs another 2 years or so. I think he needs that last level of confidence. I don't know what it is, but there's just something missing to.
I think he's like 90% alien. Because if he's going to be full alien, he'd have done it by now.
Well, look, there is the Marquez things come in and kick the doors off it, right? Like, but then there's the Fabio Quartararo ones that are. But like you look at Fabio, right? Who is a true alien, did nothing special all the way up. Like if I saw him in Moto 2.
You don't think Fabio's a true alien?
No, I said he is a true alien.
Oh, okay.
But in his Moto 3 and Moto 2 years, didn't look very special.
Something changed in him when he came to MotoGP. It was like a light switch went off.
And that's what I say with Binder. It was something. The next 2 years are going to be critical for him because it's either going to happen or it's not. You know what I mean? And I think and if it doesn't, like KTM are very fucking bullish. They're like 2024 is our year. We're going to win it, you know. And they said that last year, so I'm holding them to it. So I think it's kind of very interesting to see where KTM will end up. I do expect a lot out of them in the next Qatar tests. But I suppose onto the big dog, the one that most will get upset with us about, Honda. Now, I did take a bit of flack that I said that the color scheme is starting to grow on me. So I had a conversation with Sleepwalker, and he's like, "Did you see it?" And I was like, "Yes, it looks like a child has designed the new Honda." Now, I was looking at small pictures of it in To Be Fair, and then Ghost Rider was on to me, and he said, "Oh," I said, "It's terrible." He said, "No, I think it looks good." Then I started looking at it at home, and I think the bit that I really like is that there's naked carbon fiber on the bike, and I think you cannot.
You're at the black and white. The black and white
bottom of the belly pan is actually there. Like there is the Repsol sticker, but it's actually pure carbon. You can see the weaves in it. And for me, look, I just like if I could have them all racing in just pure carbon and a couple of white stickers, I would. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just a thing.
That's just test livery, isn't it?
Huh? No. They did their launch livery during the week as well.
Really?
And yeah, there's very small bits of Repsol color on it, but it's mainly the Honda Racing Corporation colors, which is I get, but look, it's an iconic livery that's gone, in my view. But I suppose Honda, I do commend Honda. I think they've hired European engineers.
That's a good thing.
They have copied everyone on the grid and trying to understand the stuff that they're doing. I wish Yamaha would have done the same. And they're rapidly changing things on the fly. And you can see it with different winglets, different things. And you're like going, okay, you're willing to race test, which is good.
Right.
They have the extra concessions. We won't really talk about those, but
Yeah,
they're making more right noises than Yamaha, and I think, this is why I said I believe Honda would beat Yamaha this year, is that Bartoloni is only getting to work now on Yamaha. He has 6 or 8 months before he will make any impact into that. With Marmoni, we saw it. He has made upgrades to the Yamaha engine, but that took 6 or 8 months. Like himself and Thomas O'Kane, who's a lovely chap, actually, lads. He's one of the engine guys from, I think he's an Irishman, actually. Just to say, like, we rock. But Honda, for me, they have made very good strides, and I know Ducati have got 6/10 faster or whatever, and Honda have gained 1.1 seconds on where they were last year, and they were 8/10. But they've clawed in 0.3 of a second. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot. I don't care what anyone says. That's a lot of a jump. And I was impressed with Mir in the fact that he did gain 1.1 seconds on where he qualified. And remember, Sepang was only 4 months ago now, maybe 5 months ago. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a long time to make 1.1 seconds is a lot to make in 5 months. If Yamaha could do that, would be unreal. If KTM or King Aprilia could do that, then Ducati would be in an awful lot of shit.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's a big jump to make, and I have to be fair and say, that deserves kudos. Yamaha haven't made such a big jump in that. So, and I think the riders that they have, the only weak link in the riders that I see is Taka. Mir.
Taka's there to get press for
Japan. I know
it's marketing.
Yeah, no, just they'll do a kamikaze lap, and so
he's there. He's there because he's Japanese, right? The Indomitsu bike is a Japanese bike, right? But I think Mir is going to have a different confidence level this year, because he can feel the front. I think Marini has a massive opportunity. Like, he's gone into Honda. He's replacing their God rider. He's on a 2-year contract. The bike is definitely not as bad as it was last year. He's a meticulous rider that doesn't leave things uncovered. And he has an opportunity to become a number 1 rider. Like, if you look at it, he was number 7, maybe number 6 in Ducati line. Now he's number 2 or even number 1 in Honda's view, right? You have Zarco, who, like Marini, has a fucking deep understanding of Ducati. How the bike works, what are its strong points, what are its weak points. All of those information between the two of those European engineers, I do see Honda going to spend a lot of money listening to those engineers and going, okay, like we look at what they did with Calix. They got Calix to build them a thing, and then they brought the in-house Alex from Calix in to build their frames and whatever for HRC.
That was the smart thing to do. That was one of the smart things they did, period.
It's so I would still, even though Crafar calls it a Honda chassis, it's a fucking Calyx chassis, right? He took everything he knows inside in that skull.
Mm-hmm.
That's still Calyx info. that's my view of it, right? So that's still a Calyx chassis, even though that it was made in Honda. But I'm interested to see what you think of what Honda is going to do in this test. Maybe what you think of this year. CB?
I think it's like you said. They're going to be fighting with Yamaha, and like you're saying, Marini. I think he's the best. They need him. They need him because they're, like you said, they lost Marquez. They need more a direction to go in, and I didn't realize, until they. I think Simon said it, like he's real meticulous. He spends hours like analyzing data. So they need someone like that to push it forward. Taka is not that guy. Zarco, he's new, so I don't know. They need a young rider to come in and give them some direction. So
the only challenge that I'd have to that is Danny Pedrosa is not young, and KTM goes in a great thing, right? So he is an old head that knows what a good base is, and I think Zarco, in my view, is a very, very similar type. He is meticulous. He knows Ducati's innovations for 2024. He knows what's coming for the early part of that. So I think he's like, I would see, if I'm honest, I would see Zarco at the end of this contract being Honda's official test rider.
Zarco is they really, if you look at it, he is their official test rider because they're smart. Honda will use that team, that satellite team, as a sacrificial lamb to have them do road tests, race testing for the rest of the year.
Then no. If Honda are smart, they will use all 4 riders.
Yeah, I was gonna say they know they're not going to win the title, so why the whole thing can be.
So yeah, but Gas, what do you think?
It's a tough one. Honda's done a lot of work. They've been trying a lot of things. They've got a lot of new personnel. They've changed a lot of management structure. HRC got taken off its leash. A lot has changed in the past year. Lot happening behind the scenes that people don't see, and so I really, really hope all their hard work pays off and all the money they've spent comes to fruition and all the people they hired actually work out. But I see a lot of potential for Honda in the near future. When Ken came in, they really did change. They flipped the whole organization on its head. And, Mark being gone, I don't think it's a bad thing for them, except from a PR or advertising aspect. But as far as having him off the bike, it's actually a good thing.
It's a good thing. You're right.
And
I think,
I'm looking forward to what Marini does. He's like CB said, he's young and he has a lot of talent, and maybe he can get him the results. Zarco, he's older, he's got a lot of knowledge. Maybe he can really help with the development. I'm curious to see what they do. I think they'll beat Yamaha. I don't think they'll finish in the top 10 though.
How much would you put a price on if Honda won a race? Just one race, right? Just one race, right? Without Marquez in the team, because a lot of people now believe because Marquez is gone, that Honda, any chance of Honda's recovery or being back to the front. For me, that is probably going to be the most valuable piece of PR, is that when that Honda crosses the line first without Marquez.
Oh God, yes.
Because then they'll turn around and say, "See, it was always the bike; it would never mark."
Yeah, yeah.
And that will kick off. And is that worth spending 300 or 400 million to get back to those? Well, what they're 8/10 6/10, 7/10 of a second off. Now, look, we haven't seen the full Ducati in full anger yet either, right? So they could still be that 1 second behind.
For Honda, I'd say yes.
I would say a lot of
Honda's getting beaten in motorcycle comparison.
Yeah, but look, listen, look, that's comparisons in road bikes and MotoGP.
Wait. To Jake's point here, though, the production bikes and MotoGP. Don't forget that at the Superbike test, we had the MotoGP guys out there on stock production bikes running on the same track as the World Superbikes. And lo and behold, that Honda is only half a second slower than the Ducati V4S. Half a second. And you can't blame the riders. That's Marini versus Bagnaia. And then if you put Marini versus the 4 guys between them, there ain't a whole lot between that Ducati and that Honda in stock form. And these are MotoGP riders on track, same everything else being equal. So you can, I mean, the Honda Superbike isn't great, but the road bike can't be all that bad. We're talking about less than half a second to the best road bike.
No.
So,
I suppose where we have to be real here, right, as well, right, is I don't know how many CBR triple Rs that ye see or Ducati Panigale V4 specials, right? We very rarely see them on the road. So like when you look at the stock bike, and what I mean is a stock bike that the ordinary Joe Soap will go and buy off the dealership, right? It's not these 150 grand specials, right? So, look, when you're looking on a road bike, there's not a lot of difference, even in majority of bikes nowadays, for the average user to use.
Yeah. In the CBR, triple R instance, though, that bike's a lemon, by the way. If anybody tells you that, there are all kinds of problems. I mean, massive problems, overheating problems.
Yeah, but look, let's be fair. Like, if I'm going to go away and spend 50, 60 grand on a race bike for the road, it's really going to be a track day bike, man. It's going to be designed to be going fast all the time or stopped.
Modern bikes. I mean, what you gonna keep it in first gear? If you shift in a second, you're committing a felony already.
Right.
Why you gonna ride a modern bike on a public road? I mean, what?
They sent out a letter to the people that bought the bike and said you due to the overheating problem. You know what the fix was? To make sure you ride this bike over 55 miles an hour.
But that really realistically comes back.
There you go. It's meant for the track. It was never meant to drive on the street.
It's a track focus bike.
There you go.
And look, that's where I think it's right. Look, I think Honda have been. I'm more surprised with Honda in this test than anything. I think, for me, if I was to sum up the test, I definitely think the top 3, obviously European manufacturers. For me, it will be Ducati, KTM, Aprilia, and I think I still think Honda will edge Yamaha over the season. And they could threaten Aprilia if Aprilia don't figure their shit out, right, and get their riders sorted.
Like I said, that's down to the bike, though. That's down to the riders.
Yeah, but what I mean though, right, is that the Aprilia guys can be so inconsistent, and you're going to have the likes of Mir and Marini. They might lap half a second slower, but they'll do that lap after lap after lap after lap after lap. They're not major risk takers. Well, Mir probably doesn't. He has a front end now, so I think he'll be all right. But they will be consistent at it, and Zarco as well. So I think the
riders are going to pull their ass out of the sling, more or less.
No, I think they're exactly what Honda need in the fact that they're not aliens. Like Mir is kind of like Mir. Like, I know a lot of people said Mir wasn't a real champion. Look, he was, right. He fucking won it, right. He scored the most points at the end of the season. Was he a shining star? No. But, right, points equal prizes. The most points at the end of the year means you're champion, right? And if anyone disagrees with it, there's a middle finger. You know, he has his world championship, right? He was consistent in that year. The following year after that, he lost the front end field off that Suzuki. He crashed more than Alex Rins did the previous year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I look at it, if Mir fields the front, he will not be fighting every week for the race win, but he will be consistent like he was in 2020. He will be consistent. So Marini is consistent. Zarco's not a crasher. Zarco is, again, like we saw it, like the hesitation when he was passing Pecco in 2021 in the rain. You know, he was seconds faster, but he lacks that killer edge to say, fuck it, it's mine. Do you know what I mean? And if I take him down, I'm really sorry. Do you know what I mean? But I was going for the race win. So for me, I think Honda are in a very good place. They have 4 bikes of data. Yamaha have 2 bikes of data. Yamaha have already kind of laid out their test program of, well, you know, we have all these concessions now. We have loads of testing, and we're going to make one engine update at the middle of the season. Do you know what I mean? And you're just like, man, you were given you were given this so you could bring a fucking spec change every 2 or 3 races. Do you know what I mean? What are you doing one spec change in the middle of the season? That's all they're planning to do.
You're shitting me.
No. Like what I said earlier on about Yamaha decided at the end of the last test, which I can kind of understand, what engine spec they're going to run and what aero they're going to run. And this week's test is more about dialing the bike in. Get it? Is it too early to decide all of that? I think it is. But what I would be kind of saying is, you know, you're on your 2024 spec. Coming into this, you should be running your final versions. Do you know what I mean? You should have known by the end of that the direction you wanted to go, but I think they've decided, yeah, that's the aero package we're going to do. And I'm just like, oh my god.
It's not like Yamaha doesn't have the money. Yamaha has a bigger budget than Ducati or KTM.
Yeah, listen, budgets now are good. I think budgets and talk of budgets is actually, I don't even know the budgets anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, it has become such a massive marketing tool now that budgets are like, you look at Audi's involvement, and when I signed the thing for Ducati, right, just to register to get a bike, right, there was a marketing thing from Audi. Now, I understand if at the end of a Ducati thing that I'm signing, that I'm giving my information to Ducati to look at, as in, you know, my email address and whatever, to put into their marketing terms. But there was no mention of Ducati on it. It was Audi. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of their funding now. So when I look at budgets, there's car makers now coming into this.
And KTM has a big budget. KTM's the one, the next biggest budget. Past the Japanese, it's KTM. I was reading, it was a I look at the financial news stuff, so they're not any bias to them. They're just, you know, facts and figures and numbers. KTM have the next biggest R&D budget. Okay?
Yeah, but like R&D, but you have to remember, right? The likes of HRC, for example, right? No one can actually put a figure on how much MotoGP costs because it's under HRC, right? Which within HRC are all the IndyCar functions, the Formula One functions. All of this are all get under the HRC. So any figures that do come out will be a little bit of guessing in the wind, right? We don't hear much about Yamaha's budget. We hear very little about Aprilia's budget. But what we do know for Aprilia is that there's a lot of money there from the Piaggio group, and that they're happy with the results that they're seeing, and they're willing to keep investing.
All I've heard is they need investors, but they're willing to keep going. That's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. Well, Rivola has
Yeah.
openly said that he has failed. He has failed in getting a title sponsor and this, that, and the other, which is very candid of him to say openly, right?
Yeah.
But what they're saying, really, though, is the Aprilia are saying, look, our Piaggio, we're happy to keep funding it. You know what I mean? We see the value. Do you know what I mean? The board is making the right things, the right noises to say, yeah, we're going to keep funding this. So, like, I don't think budgets are ever going to come into it. Where budgets will come into it, though, is with aero, like the cost of CFD and this, and that's a whole new field that we haven't scratched the surface on yet. Like, and
Be a big scratch with
CFD testing is much, much more affordable than wind tunnel testing. Really, that you buy your $1 million supercomputer, and then it's just about paying the engineer to sit in front of it and run it. With a wind tunnel, you got 30 million in your wind tunnel, and you got to pay half a dozen guys to run it. So the CFD testing is much more affordable, and Aprilia has 20 guys in that room. I mean, they have a good thing going.
On the flip side, they're talking about putting 850cc engines in there, which will just have to have a whole new bike. So it's like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, but look, a lot. I think now, look, the regulations haven't come out for 27, right? But obviously, look, there's the talk of the engine change, the aero change, the ride height change. I think they're going to try and look at trying to make the bikes more simpler. But I 100% agree that changing spec of engine,
Jesus Christ,
is a very expensive way of doing it. Now, look, we will wait and see.
Throwing one away. What are you gonna do? We'll just throw the whole thing away and start from scratch.
But then that does come into Yamaha's favor, right? Because everyone is starting at zero. Then
true. Yeah,
I think they have to do that because it kind of shuffles the board. Every so many seasons, Ducati is always going to be at the top, and then you're going to have the others follow in line pretty much consistently, right?
I suppose the problem for me is actually more of a safety thing with the 850cc or the 860cc's than anything else.
They already did it once before CB, and it was
it's not even what look. They did it once; it was a flop, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be a flop again. Maybe lessons were learned, right? If you're going to get 850 or 860cc's, right, it means the bikes are going to go faster through the corner, right?
Yep.
Riders are already reaching the fence, right, in the current spec with the current speeds. Does anyone remember Nicky Hayden in Aragon all those years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was horrifying. I mean, he went over the wall still doing 60 miles an hour. I don't understand how he lived.
Yeah. So that's my fundamental problem. And you look at Coda a couple of years ago, Alex Marquez and someone else crashed and they both touched the wall. Right. And circuits can move walls back. Some circuits can't. And we lose iconic, brilliant racetracks due to a fucking safety issue. Like, lads, Circuit de Catalunya is one of the fucking best racetracks.
Oh, it is a beautiful track. Yes,
you will go to, right? There is no better pictures that come out of MotoGP bikes at 63 degrees of angle. Jorge Martin touching his shoulder down off a fucking curb. Do you know what I mean? And staying on the bike. You look at Portimao. There's not a lot of wiggle room in there that they can make those changes. Like, for example, Portimao, right? Portimao, so you have turn 1, which is 90 degree. You have the kink then at turn 2. Then you have the hairpin, which is turn 3. As you come out of turn 3, you lean over to the left, okay? There's a gravel trap that goes out, I would say maybe 50 yards from the edge of the track. And after that gravel trap, there's about a 25 or a 30 meter drop into the paddock. So how do you move that back? You can't, right? So if a bike is going through there, 110 mile an hour and touches another bike, he can't get off that fucking bike.
You remember Maverick Vinales when his brakes failed or some shit, and he just laid that shit. That was perfect. Like, I love that, but it is dangerous. Like, if your brakes fail, he had time to react, and that's kind of where we're going. Like, if they're banked over halfway through a corner, and they're slightly set up, right, you're not in a position to get off that bike fast. Do you know what I mean? You're traveling those 3 or 4 seconds. You're going to be into that fence. That's what happened to Nicky. He couldn't get off the bike fast enough that time. And that was at a pretty slow enough speed. You know what I mean? To get it. So for me, the only pushback on the 850s or 860s or whatever CCs is that those bikes are going to go faster through the corner because they don't have the grunt. So they're going to have to keep the speed up.
Yeah. But with the economy the way it is across the world, the last thing we need is
yeah, but we've just talked about teams willing to put a couple of 100 million into fucking designing new aero, right?
Yeah, but the others cost 5 times as much as that. So
yeah, but look, there's no problem with budget. We've kind of established that with teams now. There's no problem spending money right now.
I want to see it.
My big concern is like you said, not only the trap speeds not being the real deal, but the high speed in the corners. They're claiming it's a safety issue, but it's not. Their solution isn't actually going to fix the problem. And then my genuine concern is what happens to the other series. MotoGP is the crowning jewel, and everyone else has to adjust to it. What's going to happen to World Superbikes when all of a sudden the GP bikes are 2 seconds a lap? World Superbikes can't be faster than GP bikes. Right. What are they going to go do the GP bikes? And then Moto 3, it's only 3 seconds faster than MotoGP. All of a sudden, we're going to have Moto 2 guys that can qualify 10th in a MotoGP race on a Moto 2 machine. What?
Rethink that one.
Yeah. Look, you made really, really good points in that. Like, now, look, I would always believe year 1 and year 2. Yeah, you're probably right. World Superbikes would probably be thereabouts at MotoGP, but I believe the development will kick on. Do you know what I mean? And they'll start to open that gap, but that's over time. Do you know what I mean? Rather than.
You need to remember, last time, though, World Superbikes started getting a little too close to GP times. They just neutered the shit out of the Superbikes because couldn't really make the GP bikes much faster. We're already looking at World Superbikes that are half super stock spec. I mean, what's next?
Yeah, well, that's what happened when the MotoGP bike is they cut the bore down. And you cut the bore down, it changes the flame speed, and therefore it makes it you can't,
The power's down.
Yeah.
81 though, like 81 millimeters. Shit, that's what all the super bikes are at now.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Super bikes. They're looking at the same fucking thing. Yeah. They went from
look. I think like this is one of the things that frustrates me the most about Dorna is. No one really knows, and I don't think they know yet where they want to go with this, with IERTA and the FIM. I don't think, I think everything that we talk about is not a little bit of speculation, but Dorna don't even know yet. Like, we're a couple of weeks away from race day, right? Like, what? We're 2 weeks? 2 weeks away from the first race, realistically, almost 2 weeks, right? So, the tire pressures, for example.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
They need to throw that out. Throw it out.
Right? They have not decided what the penalty is going to be for tire pressures.
They still don't have that down.
Nope.
I still think DiGiantonio intentionally ran under at the end of the season to get those wins because he didn't have any marks against him. He knew he could do it. He knew there was no penalty. He knew it would give him an advantage. I firmly believe he did it on purpose, and he didn't give a shit. And got him some wins, saved his job. Good for him. But yeah,
enough. I don't think it gives you enough.
You only get one warning, right? So
Well, he did it twice, and they didn't take his second. Result away, did they?
Yeah, but but the thing is,
did he do it twice? I thought it was only the once he got caught. I was looking yesterday at this because I was going to do a video on it, and then I was like, it's shit because they haven't.
They wouldn't take a first place win. Do you think? First place win, take it.
They were going to give time penalties. So you were going to get a warning, and then you were going to get a time penalty or whatever. But I would believe
they gave him a 3-second time penalty that that moved him from finishing second to finishing second. I mean, it was. I don't like the whole idea of the tire pressure things and then going back and altering it after. If there's a tire pressure rule, they need to enforce it on the grid before the race starts and not after the race was run. And they can't say, well, the tire pressure changed and then he was outside of the spec. Well, okay, whatever. That's how the bike runs. That's how the race was run. He was in compliance at the beginning. That's what counts. Don't tell riders to drop their lap time a second to keep their tire pressures in check. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look, I think it's pretty. They've overcomplicated something that could have been really, really easily and very simply monitored. Check the tire pressures on the grid like they do in MotoGP and Superbikes, or Moto2 and Superbikes. They go out and send 3 fellas out or 5 fellas out, randomly test 5 bikes. Yeah, you're in line. That's it, done.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? You don't know whether you're going to get tested. I
think they need to test everyone, though. I don't like that 5 sample rule because then you end up with a situation where the top 5 guys all get disqualified and the guy that finished 6th never got tested and wins the race. Now, post-humorous and no one checked his tires. He was cheating too. Everyone was cheating. It's like everyone's freaking tires. What you don't got time to check 20 tires instead of 5? Give me a break.
Dorna probably don't have 22 registered officials there that could actually do it. That's the problem. So it's an expensive thing for Dorna to pay for. Whereas right now, the teams are all paying for the tire pressure monitoring. Remember that, because they have to buy the sensors and all of that from things. So it's actually costing Dorna one body to just check it. So like there is cost and logistics there. So maybe it's check half the grid, whatever it is, but it's more random that the chance you're going to get caught is what. And look, again, it's if your tire pressure is 0.2 of a bar lower, is it really going to make a difference?
Yeah, that's
probably not. Yeah. If you're drastically low, it will make a difference. Especially like we saw with Martin. Do you remember when I think it was a Pecco that he was battling with? And it was like he had 3 laps to get past Pecco or else it was done. Do you know what I mean? Because he started first, he was expecting to be out there. He had a higher tire pressure.
Oh, that Qatar, he finished 8th.
Yeah. And then like his tire pressure went. I still reckon though at the start he got wheel spin. He slipped on the rim. Put him a little bit out of kilter. And then it was game over, And then his front tire pressure soared through the fucking roof. Because he was behind people, because he was expecting to be out front. So, look, I think it's quite good, but I do believe there has to be some regulation there, and the reason why is right. The teams are acting the bollocks, right? Michelin say don't go below 1.2 bar or 1.8 bar, and they're like, "Fuck you, we're going to go 1.5," right? And it shouldn't be the case that they're dismissing what the tire manufacturers say. You can do it. They're designed to this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
know more than anybody else. They're the tire manufacturer.
Exactly. And it's actually the teams are acting the bollocks. So that's why this has to be done. If the teams were playing ball, it would be fair enough. But I suppose one of the questions I'm going to ask now is, testing in Qatar is obviously happening right now, but we're filming this the day before. Who is your fastest man for Tuesday in the test? Who is going to walk away from the Qatar test with the biggest dick because they are the fastest man? And Jakey Poo, I'll start with you.
I'm going with Martin. I think Martin has a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to go out there and go balls to the wall.
Yeah, okay, maybe Pecco stealing the limelight really probably rubbed him the wrong way at the end of the last test. CB?
I want to say Marquez, but he's holding back. So it's gonna have to be Martin. I know it's a Ducati. Qatar is more so a Ducati track. So, Pecco or Martin.
Okay.
Pick one.
Gas?
Oh, Martin. What is he?
Okay, I'll go Pecco.
There you go.
All right.
I'll take the bastard. The beast is getting his feel back, and he's. We got three choices here. Honestly, all three of those are great. Martin's a very good choice. You could do it. Don't bet against Pecco. He's my favorite to three-peat. I think he's going to take the title again this year. But yeah, I think for the test, give me the beast.
Okay.
Now you're still in there too, there, buddy. What are you picking?
I'm going to go with Pedro Acosta.
Woo!
Okay.
Let's just put it out there to be different. You can be fucking Japan boys. I gotta go. I gotta go with the upstairs.
We didn't really talk about him. I think he's
that's next week's show.
yeah.
We'll talk more about after the we will talk a little bit about these, but and the other one now, right? That's going to catch you all on the hop. By the time we get back to the next show, the first race from World Superbikes is going to be done because it's on next weekend. I'm seeing the pictures already from the warm-up days in things. So give me your race winners for Saturday and Sunday World Superbikes.
Oh, man.
Jake?
I'm going to go Top Rack.
Top
Rack. I think he's going to endure it out because I think that there's that new kid that's coming up, but I don't know anything about him. I know he's fast, but is he a one-lap wonder? So I'm going to go with Top Rack.
CB?
Batista seems to be really hurt. He busted his back.
And he's whinging too about weight, but anyway, we'll get on to that later.
Yeah. The weight is not that Ducati whatsoever. That's across the board, though.
This is tough. I'm gonna go to new guy.
Guy.
I don't even know his. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Boulevard or something like that.
Boulevard, yeah. A VR46 Raiders Academy Raider, actually.
Okay.
I believe he won the Super Sport Championship last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did. He's ex-VR. I think he's. I don't think he's still in with VR46, but he was a Moto 3 rider and a Moto 2 rider with VR46.
Yes, I remember watching him race in the small GP classes, and he was legit. And then somehow he disappeared, and then ended up back in Super Sport, and then all of a sudden
he was too lanky for the Moto 2. I think really.
But yeah,
That's just my own.
He's fast. He's real fast, and he's legit. He is not a one-lap wonder. He's legit.
And on Ducati, I don't know what his weight is. What's the weight on it?
Long string of misery.
Yeah, I think he's a little tall and lanky, but I don't think he's super heavy. He's smaller than Redding.
If himself and Marini were standing side by side, people would start kicking balls between them to score goals.
Okay.
So who are you going with, Gas?
Oh man, Bautista will win it if he shows up, but I heard his shoulder's still actually really, really causing him a lot of grief, and that he's physically suffering a little bit, but he's been sandbagging like huge in testing.
I don't think
He hasn't shown his hand at all. He wasn't. Yeah. So honestly, the Alvaro's gonna come out and win again if he has a good day. Alvaro, like I watched him in the 125s and the 250s, and on his day he was unbeatable. On an off day, yeah, he's 10th, 12th every weekend. But when he showed up, he was unstoppable. And then you saw that last year. When he's got his head on straight, he's unbeatable. Look back a few years ago, though, he won the first 8 races or whatever. He was on the trot, and then all of a sudden, just got the yips and couldn't ride a bike to save his life. So if he's on, he's on. If he's off, he's off. And then, I don't think Johnny or Toprak are going to seal the deal. So, yeah.
I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go with Ray. Ray around Phillip Island is quite good. And on the Yamaha, he's full of piss and vinegar right now. So he's got to do it to show himself, or else he's done. You know, like it's not a one and done. But I think mentally, I think he'll be in a bit of trouble if he doesn't score well or even get into contention. Like
I think Remy might be give Ray some head problems because Remy's gonna be fast.
He will be
and if Remy's faster than Ray, I think Ray might lose his shit.
Yeah, but I haven't seen the speed out of Remy.
We'll give him the one good year. We'll give him one good year for sure.
You know.
Anyway, right, and on that bombshell, we will end today's, and thank you very much, lads, for joining. Really appreciate it. It's great to have different voices, Jake, and not have to listen to your head for fucking an hour and a bit.
Yo, Mr. Blabbermouth over there. Jesus Christ, who are you talking?
I know. I've stayed silent all week, so I'm like, need to get it out now. Yeah. But anyway, thank you again, lads, and we'll catch up again next week, and we'll have a final chat before the season starts. I think that will be the following week then, won't it?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay. I can't remember. My weeks are going, whatever. But on that bombshell, we'll see you all very, very soon.